Howdy hey, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we will be reviewing RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 6, Episode 4. So if that sounds good to you, make sure to hit that like button, comment down below what you thought about this episode, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And also make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at SamAmateurHour, so you can see all kinds of updates on my channel before you see them up here. Without further ado, let's get this video started. Alright. So, obviously for today's video, I will be reviewing the Rusical, to quote Raj'ah. That was my attempt at going, Rusical. Okay, I'm done. But obviously today's episode was the Rusical, and it was the Super Bowl halftime Hall of Fame show. And it was honestly really cute. I really enjoyed this episode, and overall I think it was another really great episode. Like, this season has not disappointed me in the slightest, and I've really enjoyed it. So, with that being said, I'm going to scoot over here, and we will be getting into it. So first, obviously, the episode starts with the queens walking back into the workroom, and they open the box, and they're going over all the lipsticks and finding out who voted for who, how many votes there were for Silky, and how many votes there were for Oher'a. And the voting was very close. Silky only, it was almost a tie. I'm gonna put a picture over here of the votes, actually. And I wanted to talk to you guys about something, and I was actually thinking about this as I was watching it. What would have happened had they tied? Would they have been able to tie, or is that sort of like production stepping in and saying, hey, we need it to not be a tie, we need some people to vote certain ways? I don't know. But I would have been curious to see what would have happened if it was a tie. Would they have let the lip sync, the winner of the challenge, break it? I don't know. I'd be really curious to see what they did if that were the case, but obviously that wasn't the case, and Silky had to sashay. But anyways, that's beside the point. Now all the queens who voted for Oher'a are telling Oher'a why they voted for her. We get Ginger, who voted for Oher'a based on track record. We get Eureka, who's like, I need to be there for Silky, I needed to support Silky. And then of course we have Raj'ah, who was honestly, seemed to really struggle with it because they were both of those queens are really good friends with Raj'ah, so Raj'ah had a very hard time, I think, making that decision. But Oher'a seemed to take it pretty well. She was like, I'm not going to throw a pity party for myself. I'm going to continue on and keep doing it, keep slaying. And I really respect her for that. Like, I respect the attitude of just like, hey, you guys voted for me, sure, but I can't let that really distract me from this competition. Anyways. So that happens, and then the queens all start getting out of the drags. You can kind of tell from the beginning of this episode how it's almost going to work out, because you get a lot of Jan screen time, I will say. We'll get to that later, obviously, but it is pretty apparent from the beginning, in my opinion, as to how this episode is going to play out. Anyways, now we get into the next day in the workroom, where the queens come back in after Silky is gone, and they read her message where she says all Black Lives Matter and Trans Lives Matter. And I really respect Silky for putting up those messages, using this last platform she had on the show to really spread a important message. I thought that was really important, and it's really nice to see. And I love Silky. Like, Silky's just a sweetheart, and anyways, I'm sad that Silky's gone. I'm honestly really sad. Anyways, so obviously they're reading the message, and then Trinity wipes off the message, and then they all gather around the table and start talking about what they expect to go on in this competition, how they are feeling about everything, and all the above. Then we get a Ru message, and RuPaul begins to introduce the challenge, walks out and introduces the main challenge of the week. And this main challenge, of course, like I said, is the Rusical, which of course is halftime show themed. So all the queens get to pick out different halftime shows and be those certain performers. So we'll go ahead and start talking about who plays who and all the above. First, I really wanted to talk about Ginger. Ginger playing Fergie didn't make sense in my fantasy. I don't know. I'd love to hear what your thoughts were down below. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I don't know. I didn't see the reason why Ginger picked Fergie is what I'm trying to say, I guess. We get Pandora Box, who chooses Carol Channing, of course. We get Oher'a, who chooses Prince. Raj'ah chooses Diana Ross. Jan chooses Gaga. Trinity K. Bonet, of course, chooses Beyonce. Kylie, of course, chooses Steven Tyler. And Eureka chooses Madonna. And yeah, we get the idea. Everyone goes over who they're performing as, all the things. They begin to go over the scripts. They find out that Ginger will be the first performer, of course. And yeah, then they all separate and they start going through their costumes, showing everyone their costumes. And there's not too much I want to talk about with this, because ultimately they're just showing costumes. And I mean, like, sure, they're exciting, but also I'm like, I don't know. I will say, I do think it was funny to see Scarlett in the Left Shark costume. I did appreciate that. I thought that was funny, but anyways. Then we get to choreo with, of course, Jamal Sims. I love seeing Jamal on this show. I think he's a great choreographer, and I think he does a really great job with the queens and bringing out the best in each and every one of them. Of course, we only get to see a few of the choreo sessions. We get to see Ginger, who seems to be struggling with it a little bit, just because he can see on her face that she's nervous, if that makes sense. Then we get Jara. Jara is very, very committed to Shakira, so she's very much like, this is how I see Shakira, but then Jamal's giving her different choreography. There's that whole moment. Then, of course, we get Jan going with her Gaga choreo, and yeah. Then we get Trinity, finally, who's doing Beyonce, of course, and she slays the choreo, of course, because Trinity is going to slay the choreo, like, duh. And yeah, that's what we get for the choreo. Like I said, the choreo part isn't super long, I will say, but it was nice to see. Alright, so now we get into the next day in the workroom, and the queens are all coming back in, starting to get into their makeups, beating their mugs, doing all the things. Trinity's making friends with Oher'a and Raj'ah, and Eureka, they're all being friendly. Yeah, I don't know. There's not too much I want to talk about here, because, like, ultimately they're all getting into makeup cool. I don't know, there aren't too many major moments I feel that were really noteworthy during this time, I will say. Maybe that's just me. Anyways, I really want to get to this performance, so let's get right on into it. Obviously, we will be going over the halftime show. I'm going to give you all my thoughts and opinions. First, of course, we have Ginger Minj as Fergie. I like this, I will say. She did a really good job. She did much better than I thought she would. And I think Ginger did pretty well overall. Yeah. And also, of course, we have Eureka as Madonna. It was good. I will say it was good, but I will say, I don't know. I think Eureka did a fine job. That's what I'll say. She did a fine job. Then, of course, I want to talk about Pandora. Pandora was there. Just being honest. Of course, Yara as Shakira. There's one thing I want to talk about. Yara wasn't wearing shoes. And I don't know if that was purposeful. I don't know if Shakira didn't wear shoes. I'm not sure. I assume. Of course, I'm not an expert on Super Bowl halftime shows. I barely watch the Super Bowl, if I'm being honest with you guys. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one down below. I really do want to focus on two here, specifically Jan and Trinity. First, I'm going to talk about Jan. Jan did really well as Gaga, I will say. I think her Gaga was super, super strong and really well put together. I really enjoyed her Gaga performance. I can definitely see why she was in the top. That being said, I do want to talk about Trinity K. Bonet as Beyonce. Oh my god. She killed it. Okay, first off, by no means am I a Beyonce expert. I'm not trying to claim that. at all. But Trinity K. Bonet, oh my god, you brought it. Oh my god. How did she not win this challenge? I don't get it. I think Trinity K. Bonet slayed it. Slayed it. And did super well. I'm really, really proud of Trinity. Like, so well done. So well done. Great job. Honestly, no problems. I think Trinity killed it. Anyways, Ginger. I also want to talk about Yara, I already talked about, and then Oher'a. Oher'a did a good job. I will say I did enjoy her prints. Again, I'm not an expert on prints. I'm not an expert on most of these performers, if we're being honest here. But I will say I enjoyed her performance. I also enjoyed everyone else's performance. Like, overall, I think this was a really strong musical, and I really enjoyed this. I think all the queens did a really great job. And honestly, my applause goes to all of them. Like, they all killed it. They all did great. And, yeah. Now we're going to get into the runway. The runway, of course, was really good. Overall, I think the runway is really strong. I'm going to go ahead and give you some of my highlights, of course. I really thought Trinity K. Bonet looked gorgeous. I will say, compared to some of the other looks, it wasn't as exciting to me. But again, maybe that's my own perspective. I think she looked stunning. Jan, of course, looked gorgeous. Yeah, I really liked the color pattern. I really liked seeing the side of Jan. I thought she looked really great. Ginger surprised me. I actually kind of like Ginger's runway. Like, I didn't have any problems with it. Then, of course, we have Eureka's runway. How do I put this? I personally was not a fan. I'm not saying I didn't like it, but I personally was not a huge fan. I also want to talk about, of course, Kylie Sonique's runway. Oh my god, she is stunning. Stunning. Raj'ah Oher'a did a really great job. Scarlet Envy did pretty well. I will say I like Scarlet's look. I really liked all the stones on her face. Like, it was really put together. It was very much a well-executed outfit. Jara, I really liked Jara's outfit. I loved her wig. It's very signature Jara, in my opinion, because that's what I remember of Yara from season 3, just like hair with big sculpture pieces and really cool things like that. Yeah, the rest of them were fine. I will say Pandora's was probably one of my least favorites. I don't know if I mentioned this already. I don't think I did. But it just looked boring compared to everyone else's outfit. Like, I was like, Pandora. Was this the last minute? What was up with this? I don't know. Anyways, now we're going to get to the judging. I'm going to go ahead and go over placements. Of course, this week, our safe queens are going to be Raj'ah Oher'a, Kylie Sonique Love, Raj'ah Oher'a, Kylie Sonique Love, I just had Pandora Box, and Scarlet Envy. Those were the 4 safe queens, so they get to go back to the workroom and untap. Anyways, so now we get to the tops and the bottoms this week. The tops this week are going to be Eureka, Trinity K. Bonet, and Jan. And the bottoms this week are going to be Ginger Minj, Oher'a, and, of course, Jara Sophia. I thought this was an interesting choice for the tops and bottoms. I will say I agreed with it for the most part. I wouldn't have necessarily put Eureka in the top, if I'm being honest with you guys. But then again, I don't know who else I would have put in the top. So, I don't know. Ultimately, for me, the top 2 was Trinity and Jan. So, there's that. Obviously, in the end, they end up picking Jan as the winner, so congratulations to Jan for winning your first challenge. Way to go! Honestly, like, way to redeem yourself from the musical last year. Obviously, she should have won last year, more so in my opinion than this year, but maybe that's my own opinion. Definitely leave a comment down below. Then we get Trinity and Eureka are safe. And then, ultimately, RuPaul does decide to save Ginger Minj as well. So the bottom 2 is going to be Oher'a Chanel Davenport and Jara Sophia. This was an interesting bottom 2, but I would say I would agree with it for the most part. Then all the queens obviously go back to the workroom and discuss voting. I will say Yara isn't very much pleading her case. She's kind of like, whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm pissed. And that was about it. Akira is more so pleading her case, in my opinion. So I personally probably would have voted for Yara to go away, just because Yara didn't seem to plead her case as well. I don't know. Or maybe that's just the narrative the show is trying to play. I don't know. So the queens all vote, and then Jan picks out the lip sync she's gonna pick, and then we get to the lip sync. And of course, this week's lip sync assassin is going to be Jessica Wilde from season 2. So it's really nice to see someone from season 2 as a lip sync assassin. And yeah. Then Jan and Jessica lip sync to Womanizer by Britney Spears. I was watching it. I'm gonna go and give you my opinions on this. I think Jessica clearly won this. Like, there's no doubt in my head about that. But I was thinking about Jan's performance, and it kind of reminded me of Jackie Cox's performance from season 12 of Kill the Lights, which apparently was a double save, even though, in my opinion, Heidi won that. But I also just want to say those two performances kind of remind me of each other. They had similar elements. So that being said, I was not crazy about Jan's performance. So I definitely agree with Jessica Wilde winning this lip sync, so congratulations to Jessica for winning it. Which means also that $30,000 is gonna be, the $20,000 is gonna be rolled over to next week. So whoever wins next week has a chance to win $30,000, which is kind of iconic. Anyways, so Jan is safe, and Jessica Wilde pulls out her lipstick, and the ultimate queen who will be sashaying away is Jara Sofia. Again, they seem to really point this out pretty clearly from the voting. Obviously, I haven't seen Untucked yet. I will be watching that. But, for the most part, they made it pretty obvious as to who they were all gonna pick. So, there's that. Anyways, that does bring me to the end of my video. Next week, we will be reviewing episode 5 as well, of course. And I'm really excited about it. But, now that we're at the end of the review video, make sure to like this video if you liked it. Comment down below what you thought about this episode and what you think about the season overall. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Share this video all over social media. And follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at SamateurHour. And I will be back here tomorrow for another video. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.